Good morning, YouTube. So I'm back in my happy place. I'm out here on my farm. Last weekend, I made a video out here showing you my new farm. I gave you a little tour. The new farm is that little house up there and all those avocado trees. But today I'm going to give you a tour of the original farm. And this farm, to me, it's actually more interesting. I have a much better variety of plants. We're going to start off with this guy right here. This is, I don't know its scientific name, but it is called portón locally. It's got probably a half dozen different local names in different countries around here. But it grows into a big tree, but it's a legume. It produces beans. And they're also a really beautiful looking tree when they have flowers. So I've got two up here and two little ones down below. One there. And one you can't see down there. And then there's another one I'm trying to save right here. Portón. They're a very little known plant. Even here, even where people should know this local tree, very few people know about them. Really only people that are way into farming and gardening and preserving traditional types of plants that are not popular commercially are aware of the portón. I got a duck when I come through here. I keep catching my head on this. This is going to have the little, I think these are primroses growing across it. Here, I know this is probably not super exciting for you guys because it's not exotic, but here I've got a plum tree, a bunch of plums on it. I've got several plum trees, some that produce really well and some that don't. This one that doesn't have very many leaves on it is going to produce a ton of fruit. Look at all those flowers. This side of the garden has tons of citrus. Ooh, look at that bug. These guys bite. They are biting flies. Kind of looks like a bee, but it is a type of fly. Lots of citrus trees. I throw my egg cartons in here to compost and provide some sort of thatch around trees. Up above I've got a tilapia pond and I can irrigate from the pond. It's very nitrogen rich water that comes out of it. These are naranjilla, a very prehistoric looking plant. Here's another portón. We're going to go this way. Lots of different varieties of citrus plants over here. Some of them boring, just Washington oranges or Meyer lemons, but also some limon sutil and some what are called locally zebra lemons, limon zebra. Ooh, here's an exciting plant. Look at these little fruit on here. I almost gave up on this tree. It wasn't fruiting at all. I was ready to get rid of it. And just in the nick of time, it started producing. I don't like to lose a lot of space to trees that are just a tree for the sake of having a tree. I like everything to be dual purpose. Either it produces some sort of fruit or it's medicinal. This tree is from the Brazilian highlands. I forget its name. I've never actually successfully gotten a fruit off of it. It has these beautiful flowers and it does produce fruit. But we're kind of on the edge of its elevation. And what happened? Oh, there is a fruit. Oh, look at that. Just as I'm saying it never produces fruit, I found the first one. It's produced these before, but they fell off. I'll have to look up what it is. I can't remember the name. More citrus. One of the other citrus I have out here is something called lima, which it's mostly used for desserts. You use the peel, But when I'm thirsty out here, I'll take a lima and I'll eat it because it tastes like lemon water. It's a very mild flavor, but a strong lemony smell, and it is a great thirst quencher. Here's a very happy citrus tree. Look at that. A little patch of beans here, and some volunteer corn. I didn't plant those corn. They just volunteered. So beans, legumes in general, they put nitrogen in the soil by planting patches in between trees that take a lot of nitrogen out of the soil. I reduce how much fertilizer I need to use. These are one of my favorite plants. In earlier videos, I've shown you guys them before, but for those that are new here, this is mountain papaya. The locals call it chihuacan. It is a papaya that grows in cooler, high elevation climates like this. It's also known as Chilean papaya because it'll grow all the way down into Chile. It is a type of papaya that you need to cook or ferment. It's used for alcohol. I use it for tea. People use it for desserts. If you try to eat it fresh, it'll burn your mouth. And these are Peruvian ground cherries right here. Look at those. Those are about ready to harvest. More chihuacan. More Peruvian ground cherries. Taxo, also known as banana passion fruit in English, which is one of my favorite types of passion fruit. And we're about to get into, oh, what's this over here? We got figs. A bunch of figs. I get so excited in my little orchard here. I'm like a little kid. I'm just running from thing to thing, all excited. So over here, we've got a bunch of passion fruit. This one, I don't know the exact variety in English, but in Spanish it's called granadilla. It's one of the sweetest passion fruits. There's a ripe one right there. And my favorite passion fruit, giant passion fruit, locally known as badea. These fruit get about twice that size. They get about the size of a melon. They've got the most beautiful flowers. There's a little bee in there pollinating the flowers as we speak. Hello, bee. Thanks for doing your job. This one plant produces hundreds of fruit. Hundreds of fruit. And I think I've got a very special variety. I took a cutting from a neighbor in the town below. This is not really supposed to grow at this elevation and at this temperature. It's not supposed to thrive, but this particular one is thriving at this elevation and this kind of cooler temperature up here, because we are at 2,390 meters. Here's an avocado tree. So we're way up in the mountains, and the temperature gets pretty cold at night, down into the 40s, 40 Fahrenheit. More lemons. What do we got over here? Here's some different stone fruit, peaches or plums, or I think this is peach. Plantains, not banana. It looks like banana. It's related, but it's a plantain. I've never gotten any fruit off those. Never. Maybe one day. I have a kind of funny system I use where I take organic waste from the house and I throw it in this bucket that has holes in the bottom. And it composts and it slowly leaks out very rich nitrogen liquid that fertilizes the trees. And I move the bucket from one to the next. I do it like this because I've got a neighbor that's got some dogs that just kind of run loose, and she doesn't really take care of them. The dogs, they're working dogs. Their job is to protect her house and fend for themselves. And they get into my compost pile and eat everything. Here's another naranjilla. Buenos días.
Buenos días.
¿Cómo estás?
Aquí, there.
Yo tomo un video.
Un video bonito.
Sí. My neighbor's coming to talk to me.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo ha
Bien.
pasado?
Bien, bien,
¿Está
bien.
bonito?
Sí, sí,
Ah,
super,
mejor.
super.
Ah,
Buen trabajo, buen
ya.
trabajo. Gracias. Bueno.
Con las máquinas mismo.
Sí, sí, sí. Nosotros tenemos gasolina para la
ya.
moto guadaña. Ya.
Entonces, sí, eso necesita ahora sí solo
Sí,
con...
sí,
Por
tenemos.
aquí hay aguacates.
Ya.
Ah,
Yo miro de un que tiene muchos. Sí, un árbol que tiene mucho aguacate,
aquí
sí.
sí, ahí sí
Sí.
ese.
Esta, ya. Esta.
Ah, ya
Ya.
también está otro. No, en esta también ya está.
Sí, sí, yo miro, yo
En
miro.
esta huesta.
Sí.
Ah, por aquí.
Sí, is esta. He's telling me about the tree that has many avocados on it. I think it's this one here. Yeah, it's this one. Look at all those avocados down there. There's last year's that are just now ripe.
Ya está de coger ya.
And then there's this year's, the new ones. But there's some I need to pick. These ones right here.
Ya está de coger ya.
Yeah, yeah.
Para que madure.
Sí, sí, es tiempo. Pero, ¿cuándo tú fumigar?
Ya ves.
¿Tú
Ya
recuerdas?
va a ser 15 días.
15 días, entonces puedo.
Sí.
Bueno, ok.
Y como ya llovió, ya la
Sí,
ya
sí,
está
sí,
la
sí, sí.
base.
Ya. Bueno, perfecto. Gracias. Gracias.
Ya.
Ciao. My neighbor, I'm really lucky. I have great neighbors, and I pay the neighboring family to help take care of the farm because I'm still living in Texas, and my wife and kids live in Quito. My ideal world, I would be out here every day working on the farm, but I'm not there yet. I still got to make money, so I really lucked out. It's hard to own a property like this when you're not here full time. It really requires having good neighbors. And I have good neighbors that do a great job taking care of the place. They don't always do things the way I would. I've had a hard time convincing them to switch over to doing things in an organic way. Sometimes they make choices that would be different than mine. It's a work in progress, but man, I can't ask for better neighbors. Bunch of peaches here. This tree, there was one year I got about 100 peaches off of this little peach tree. All right. This area right here, I think tomorrow or the next day, if they actually show up, I'm going to have an excavator come out. We're going to dig another pond. And this pond, unlike my original one, is not going to be for tilapia. It's going to be for, locally it's called Azeola, something like that, but it's duckweed. It is a very fast growing, high protein, most people consider it a pond weed, but it is something I can grow in this pond to feed my tilapia and also to feed chickens if I decide to get chickens out here again. Got a bunch of different rosemary plants. They grow like a weed out here, but this one needs to be trimmed. Here's the other rosemary. This is tree tomato, getting ready to produce a bunch of flowers. No fruit on it right now. And this was my original passion fruit. I tend to not get very many fruit on it, and I don't know why. It's produced only a handful. Oh, but there's one right now. This is not a good one. It looks like it's been out here too long and it's split. Maybe I can salvage it. Another passion fruit. Let's keep going. Part of the deal I have with my neighbors is I let them graze their horse and their cows out here, and they will put a stake in the ground and a rope so that in the open areas they can graze, but they don't get to my trees and destroy them. So I get some weed control and grass control, and they get to feed their animals. It's a win-win. Here's another tree tomato. So it is a type of tomato, I believe, but it grows like a tree. And it tastes very different from tomatoes. We use it for fruit juices and desserts and making hot sauce. This is the patch where I have most of my avocado trees. And my avocado trees are, I think between 3 and 4 years old. They're just starting to produce. I think I showed you guys this the other day. I'm going to show you again. Here's an avocado tree that is in full production. I don't know, it's kind of backlit with the sun behind it, but there's about 100 avocados on this one little tree. That's probably a 10-year-old tree right there. I planted blackberries, and some of you might be thinking, are you crazy? You planted blackberries? They're going to take over everything and become a problem. And that doesn't really happen out here in this particular climate. You plant blackberries, you actually have to fertilize them and weed around them and protect them. Where I grew up in Tacoma, Washington, if you plant blackberries, pretty soon they take over the whole yard and you got to cut them back, and eventually you regret having planted them. But here, they're raised as a crop, locally called mora. So because people always ask me, and I've explained this before, but I'll explain it again, this piece of land, which is about 1/2 hectare, so a little over an acre, back in, I want to say it was 2021, I think is when I bought it. I think I paid $16,500 for it. At that time, it was just a field of weeds with a horse grazing in it. And I cleaned it up, built this little road across it, built the gated entry, built this house. I think I spent about $20,000 building the house. A lot went wrong, as always happens in construction in Ecuador. I had a contractor, locally called a maestro, that did a lot of things that were very different from what I was asking for. And so that house could have been built a lot cheaper if there weren't numerous mistakes on it. I had to put the roof on that thing twice. Look at this. I think these are sutil limon sutil. Somewhere here, I saw it the other day, I have my first ripe mandarin orange. I think we walked past it. Now that I own the neighboring property, I opened up the fence here so I have a walkway between the two. Here we've got some more passion fruit. Little garden patch. I've got some parsley, some red lettuce that's it's looking like it's starting to go to seed. Cilantro that's gone to seed. These are ricotta ají. It's my favorite type of hot pepper. I'm not allowed to eat them anymore because, man, I was eating too many hot peppers and my doctor said, knock it off. I need to do a little trash walk. I don't know whose garbage has gotten into the farm here. There's a chard. I used to have a greenhouse right here. It fell down. It was built out of bamboo and it rotted and fell down. Well, we tore it down because it was falling over. These are the most common local chili peppers, but this is ricotta ají, and it is such a delicious type of hot pepper. Very sweet, absolute best flavor. That looks like a bunch of fertilizer that's been thrown in the wrong place. Why is it on the ground instead of up in here? That is probably guinea pig poop. We use locally called albono de koi because they raise guinea pigs here for food. We use it for fertilizer. It's one of the best fertilizers. All right, I'm kind of stuck in this corner here. I've got some lavender. There was a specific plant I was walking out here to show you guys. Here it is. I just bought a whole bunch of these. Oh, there's another chihuahua and some asparagus that's going to seed. This right here. Those are lemon verbenum. In English, the locals here call it, or in Spanish it's called cedrón. It is very lemony smelling, almost like a cross between lemon and mint, sort of. And you can use it in cooking, but I use it for tea, and it is a fairly strong sedative. I have a cup of that in the evening and I will go right to sleep. I usually make mine extremely strong. I love it. So I have an idea. I bought a bunch more of these because it grows so well here. I think I could probably start a little business selling it commercially. It's very easy to dry. So I just grow it, cut it, trim it. Here's another one right here. Big, healthy cedron plants. It'll grow into a small tree. Trim it, dry it, put it in bags, maybe just sell it on Facebook Marketplace, because that's how a lot of businesses here, when they're starting out, they just hit up Facebook Marketplace and get customers. That is the main way to buy and sell things here right now. So yeah, right now we don't have anything in there. We just planted the next crop. So this greenhouse, this doesn't, it's just a mesh. It doesn't stop the rain or the wind that much. It reduces the wind. But a lot of things here on the equator, they get too much sun. There's a chard in there. And it provides some shade, a little protection from insects. This can be kind of like a little nursery. I start plants in here and then I move them out. But right now it's just a mess in there. This is the zebra lemon. It's got another name in English. I forget what it is, but it's variegated something lemon. Variegated Eureka lemon, something like that. Some name from California where it was originally bred. Yeah, what else do I want to show you here? That might be it. I'm just kind of spinning around in circles, all excited about all the stuff I've got growing here. Up here, there's going to be a barbecue pit. I've been talking about it for years. I still haven't gotten off my butt and started the project, but I'm gonna, not a barbecue pit, but like a little, it'll have a roof and a floor. I'll probably run power and water down here to have a little sink and a refrigerator. And then there'll be like a little barbecue area inside it. And then there's a hole up there that eventually I'm going to build an outhouse on top. I want to have an outhouse and an area to cook outside and an outdoor shower. And part of why I want to do that is I want to set up camping here, maybe glamping. I want to build some platforms and have all the equipment, some air beds and tents and sleeping bags, so that tourists can come and like pay $5 a night to camp, and I have everything set up for them so they can come stay in this fruit garden, especially when the fruit trees are a little more mature. They can come stay, and if they want, use the internet from the house and cook at the little barbecue pit and have an outdoor shower and an outhouse and get to experience a little bit of camping without all the work. Part of my idea for that is there's really a lack of places to stay in this area. The towns down below, Puyero and Perucho, they get a lot of weekend tourism. It's mostly not international tourism. It's mostly local folks from Quito that come and visit this area for the weekend. This is kind of an area where you would drive the hour outside of Quito to come visit for the weekend and shop for fruit. People buy boxes of avocados and oranges and things like that and take them back, and also try unique fruit that grow in this area. But the hotel in town is kind of half closed. It's been for sale for forever, and now they really only open up if there's a big event. And there's a few sort of Airbnb places around, but not enough. So I want to set up camping here, and as I said in my previous video, I want to turn that house up there into an Airbnb so that I can take advantage of the lack of places to stay out here. And I've always wanted to have a little tourism business like that, but I think for this property, camping is the way to go. And the neighboring property, it's for a little higher end Airbnb. Or as I said before, ideally, someone like me will want to rent a place in the area longer term so that they can scout it out and figure out if it's the right place for them, if they want to live here as much as I do. That's my idea. The neighbors have just planted peas, I think, abeja. I'm probably saying that wrong. My Spanish has gotten rusty. Let's walk up here and look at the view. These are going to be huge trees, huge fruit trees. And my wife knows what they are. I don't. Got an irrigation system here. I'm able to pull water out of, right now you're going to see a very dirty pond. I'm not proud of how dirty I've let it get. I haven't had a working filter in a while, but there's tilapia in that dirty water, and the water is super rich in nitrogen, and I can pump water out of here to irrigate. My wife Grace planted this rose. Beautiful rose right next to the pond here. Nice little garden up here. Ooh, somebody harvested a lettuce. Here's the next batch of avocado trees. These are all, I think, Hass avocados that are about to get planted. But I need to take some time to prepare the land to plant them. Ah, buen dia. Yeah, I think that's it. This has probably turned into a long video for a quick farm tour. I really want, when it's possible, to buy a neighboring, really 2 or 3 hectares, a neighboring piece of land, preferably something that is not expensive because it doesn't have a road and is really steep, so I can get a very good price for it. But someplace I can walk up to with animals, so that if I want to have some cows, I could, or more likely, if I want to have goats. My idea is to get either pygmy goats or the Nigerian dwarf goats, which that's probably the most practical because they produce a lot of milk, goat's milk. But I want to get them, keep them on a hill up there, and then I can also bring them down here to control the grass. Slowly but surely, I'm working towards a permaculture system there, but it's a work in progress. I'm not there yet, and because I'm not here all the time, and the neighbors that help me with the property, they do things their own way. And it would be a losing battle for me to try to change their farming practices. They're going to keep doing it their way, so I just have to adapt to it for now. And then eventually, when I'm here more, I can make it more of a permaculture system. Check out the views. This is my paradise. I have this little road here because my septic is down there, so if I ever need to get down to it, I can do maintenance on the septic system. All right. I think that's it. There's only one more thing I want to show you. I just noticed this the other day, and I'm going to go pick them in a few minutes. Look at all those raspberries. That's a volunteer plant. I've got all these wild raspberries on it. I love the views from this side. Some of you will recognize this plant. That's San Pedro. That is similar to peyote. It is a psychoactive plant. I've got a bunch of them here. They are native to this area, and I can grow them like a fence. They grow real tall, and they'll keep horses from sticking their head through the fence and eating things. All right, that's the farm tour. I'm going to go about my day. See you later, YouTube.